Hey everybody, Jason from @scoon.art here, and I'm back from HeroesCon with a HeroesCon haul. It was a lot of fun. I went up for just a day, Saturday the 13th. I had to work on Friday, and I can't do a whole weekend. I got a family and stuff. But I saw a lot of friends that I've met online and have met in person before, so it was great to see them again. See the stuff that they're working on in person and up close. A lot of them had their original art on them, so it was like, it's one thing to see their drawings on Instagram, but page through somebody's portfolio and see that they're the real deal. It's nothing like it. It's amazing. But it was a fantastic time. There's so many artists there that I saw, and then so many that I missed too. I think next year what I need to do is start making a list as people are posting about tabling at HeroesCon. But with that being said, we're going to take a look at the haul today. We're going to take a look at some of the artwork I came home with, and I also want to talk about networking opportunities as an artist and how to use things like HeroesCon to get your name out there. Obviously, if you're friends with people on Instagram and you see they're going to be at cons near you, I think it's well worth it just to get a day ticket and go walk around, shoot the breeze with them, see some other artwork, maybe meet some other artists, and let's come on over to the art table and let's take a look at the haul. Come on. All right, so here is the pile here. So the first thing I actually want to show off, this is something I am so excited for. My buddy, I met him at a marketplace here in Columbia, a live art mart, where we were allowed to set up and sorry I had that cord in the way, but basically we were allowed to set up and we did some live art displays. He was doing these giant chalk drawings on the sidewalk, and they were amazing. And he came by my booth, and I gave him one of my screen printed, I think it was either an Akira or Evangelion shirt. I can't remember which one. And he was like, "Oh, I got you, man, I got you." And I finally got caught up with him, and he gifted me this amazing print of Frank Zappa, Joe's Garage. We got to talking way back when about Zappa, and he was like, "Oh man, I got you." And sure enough, John Hairston Jr. delivered. He is a incredibly talented, incredibly gracious, incredibly kind, all of the superlatives, artist. And this is one of my treasured possessions now. I need to get this in a frame ASAP. It is beautiful. I think the original medium is chalk here, but he works in all types of mediums. You're going to want to check out John Hairston Jr. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina, or somewhere near Charlotte, North Carolina. I know he wasn't too far away from where HeroesCon took place, but yeah, I just thought I'd take the beginning of this video to just show off his incredible artwork. I love Frank Zappa. We got another Zappa thing in here too, so if you love Frank Zappa, we'll be getting to more Zappa stuff in a minute. But yeah, I am so excited about this print, and I got a perfect place in my studio where I'm going to put it. I would like to put it in the living room, but we'll see how that battle goes with the family there. So yeah, Heroes Convention. This is the program that they gave out. It's got, if you've never been, it is a giant comic book convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. The great thing about Heroes Convention, it is all about the comics. So as such, you get your big names that come in and do signings. They had Scott Snyder come in signing. I tried to get in line for that, but I was too late. It was capped off, so it was I didn't get anything signed by him. But that being said, because that didn't happen, I had a lot more time to check out Artist Alley and all of the incredible indie. Look at page after page after page of artists. As many artists as I saw, there were so many that I missed. I need to make a list next time to make sure I hit everybody. Another piece of artwork I got to meet Anthony Haddix, who I've been friendly with a little bit on Instagram for the past year. And we had a fantastic conversation at the bar, and you know, we were talking about drawing supplies and stuff, and I'm a big avid fan of using fountain pens, and I love to try to get as many artist friends that I know to start using them. And I convinced him to try out my fountain pen by doing a little doodle in my sketchbook for me. So he drew his character Konax, which, if you're not familiar with Konax, if you like that tokusatsu Ultraman kind of stuff, Anthony Haddix is making a comic that 100% understands that genre and takes it to the next level, incorporating stuff from, like, you know, real world, I mean, inspired by real world, but not directly adapting. So he's one to check out. I got to get this one framed as well with my John Hairston Jr. print. Another artist I was excited to see again was Matthew Allison. He is a artist that I feel like more people need to know about this guy. He is some of the tightest ink work in the game. Very grotesque, surreal comic books that are like grounded in like 50s sci-fi superhero stuff. This one's more of a, I haven't read the whole thing yet, but it's a bunch of short stories. Very bizarre, surreal stuff. I absolutely just eat everything up that he draws. And then we got another chapter of his superhero comic, Kankor, which, if you've not read Kankor, you need to go and grab a collected copy from his website, because I think they're going out of print soon. But yeah, it's always good to see him. I gave him a copy of my Country Cat. Here's a couple more. So I picked up a couple of zines here. I got a sketchbook zine from Philip Fleming. He happened to spot me walking by. I was wearing my Fluke Athens t-shirt, which is a small press, you know, Market Expo thing. I did it back in March. It was fantastic. Almost sold out of all of my Alf drawings. But, you know, that was one of my strategies when walking around. I was like, well, I could wear like a, you know, a comic t-shirt or a t-shirt I screen printed myself. But I chose to do, you know, wear the Fluke t-shirt in hopes that people might, you know, hey, you know, it's in the area. You might get a lot of people that have tabled there before. So it was a great conversation starter. I had many conversations with people just based on me wearing that shirt. Which I'm not a very fashionable person, but that might have been the one fashion choice I've made that's actually resulted in, you know, some art trades and even a sale for this guy. I really liked his figure drawing. This was a cool one. My friend Deanna was telling me about Ben Sears, and I was just eyeballing what he had on the table, and I absolutely love how this comic feels. The title got me too, Young Shadow. I'm thinking it's a play on Carl Jung's shadow concept, so you get me with stuff like that very easily. But this comic is absolutely gorgeous. I'm assuming it's risograph printed. Let's see. First edition printing. It doesn't say. But, yeah. This was really cool. I'm really looking forward to reading that. Let's get some stuff from some friends of mine here. Oh, yes. Somebody that we featured on the channel before. I finally got Koji and Maru #2. Jason Cochise is a guy I met a couple of years ago or a year ago at that anime convention in Augusta, which I'm going to be tabling at this weekend. So if you're in Augusta, come check it out. But yeah, I cannot wait to dive into Koji and Maru #2. My kids love Koji and Maru #1. There's another one from Noir Amador. This guy is so funny. I've met him on the internet through Instagram. So Instagram, if you're an artist and you're on Instagram, one of the things I've noticed about it in the last, you know, since I've been kind of like promoting my art on there, is it's a really great way to find other comic book artists. I don't really get a lot of sales through Instagram. I have a Shopify. It's linked up with my Instagram, so it's not through like lack of this is so funny. Through lack of it's not through lack of you know, marketing myself or like making these things easy to get to, because you can literally buy my stuff right on Instagram. But you know, I don't really have sales come through there. Matter of fact, YouTube, since you guys have made this YouTube channel successful the last couple of months, that I've actually got a couple of sales from that. So, you know, it's the internet is a strange thing, but I think you can't just do posting on the internet to promote your artwork. That's how I met a lot of these guys that I got to see in person, either for the first time this year or for the first time last year at HeroesCon, or if they were in the area tabling somewhere. But I think really what needs to happen is you got to do stuff in real life too, whether it's small markets like where I met John Hairston and stuff like that, at the local live art mart here in Columbia, or, I'd like to table at HeroesCon, but I don't think I have the stamina to do that. There's like Ghost Man and the Angriest Warrior. It looks like we got Erwin Papa doing Raymar Brunson's Ghost Man, and Raymar Brunson doing, I think it's Erwin Papa's Angriest Warrior. I would imagine so. We got a little split zine here. Yeah, created by Erwin Papa. Yeah, for me, I don't, I just can't justify taking that much time away from my family and spending that kind of money. So my solution to that is just buy a day ticket, print out 90 or so zines, and go schmooze with people, anybody that's willing to take one, I gave it to them. Every table I went to, I made sure, even if I bought something from them, they're like, hey, here's something I made. And it was a great, I've gotten several Instagram follows from it. Let me get another thing by Raymar Brunson. I also got issue 2 of Ghost Man. Ghost Man Haunts Again. This is an exciting superhero comic. I love Ghost Man 1. Raymar Brunson's got such an Alex Toth quality to his inks. They're so crisp, so clean, never cluttered. I mean, look at this composition. This is so great. Fantastic silhouette, especially with the idea of the ghost and stuff like that. He knows what he's doing. But that being said, where's the value in that? So, I mean, yeah, I printed a bunch of comics that I made. I also bought a bunch of comics. So, yeah, I'm still kind of in the hole. But, there's still some connections to be made with other artists. Like, for instance, last year, I met Rick Lopez, the creator of Cosmic Cat, which I really love this comic about a space rogue cat hunted by dogs. It's really great. And this year I got these from him, his 24-hour comics. Let me see if I'm doing them in the right order here. That's 3. This might be 1, 2, and 1. Okay. But Rick's a really great guy. So I gave him a copy of Country Cat, and we bonded over our love of these feline characters. And, I got to talk to him a little bit more this year, and it turns out we have a lot more in common than just creating comics with kitty cats. But anyway, so we got to talking, and we were kind of talking about oh yeah, man, we should do something together with our cat characters. So it's kind of planting these seeds for more possible future collaboration. People that are kind of already in the industry. I don't know how to say it, because I don't know what's in the industry and what's not. I guess if you make comics, you're in the industry. Who knows what any of that means these days. Here's Jeremy Hyler's Virulent preview. This is another superhero comic I'm actually very excited for. Jeremy is a incredible talent. He understands storytelling, pacing. His pencils are so tight. But these things, I think, and I'm sorry I'm rambling. This video might not be very good. But, I think what I'm trying to highlight here is the difference between, okay, I post my stuff online and now I'm just waiting for results, versus, all right, I posted online, I printed this stuff out, how do I get it into people's hands? Because the internet, unfortunately, especially Instagram, is such a passive way to kind of get your stuff out there, I think. It's very easily to hit the heart button, scroll on, which is why I think that, I'm seeing the results or lack of results on my Shopify when it comes to sales via Instagram. Again, it's a great way to meet other artists. It's a great way to meet fellow YouTube content creators and stuff that like comics and want to talk about comics. So it's a good way to, if you're going to something like this, like a big con like HeroesCon, start making a list of the people that you follow or that you're friendly with, so that way, you know, you can form these relationships in real life. Take them beyond the screen, because in my opinion, I think art happens in real life. You know, no matter how you do it, I think you have to make it a physical object and get it in people's hands for them to remember. Like, somebody remembers, oh, I got this cool Stanley Kubrick comic from Jeremy Hyler at HeroesCon. Let me flip through it. And I don't know, the tactile nature of it, being able to talk to fellow artists, it sticks with you a little bit more than just the scroll. You know, I feel like when you're scrolling, it's, you know, that your brain kind of adapts to that method of consumption. Let's see what we got next. All right, I promised some more Zappa. So here's something I got from Eli Schwab of the Cosmic Lion crew there. He drew me a little Zappa. Guacamole Queen. I told him my favorite song was Inca Roads. But so speaking of Cosmic Lion, Eli Schwab is I don't know what his role is. I think he's high up. He's a big wig at Cosmic Lion Productions. But speaking of Cosmic Lion, I signed up also for one of their portfolio reviews. So I came with my comic portfolio, and I met with Anton. I forget his last name, but he's the editor of their anthology comic, Lion Cosmique. You know, it's kind of a sci-fi, paranormal kind of gig there. And yeah, the portfolio review went really well. I mean, again, it was another opportunity to not just put a comic in somebody's hand, but hey, look at the full-size pages I drew. Have somebody else that puts out books professionally take a look at them, get their honest feedback on it, and then take what they told me and bring it back to my studio here and try to adapt. So none of these things come with any, like, they're not going to change your life overnight. But if you're at all serious about getting your work out there, this was a Ween zine here, the Zine Ween. I think you gotta also take it to the next step and start beating the streets. So, like, if you know, like all those Cosmic Cats that I printed out, do something like that. Pass them out. If you don't got cons near you, go to like the local free times or something. Pull out some of the papers and insert your comic in there. Go to some shops, get them in the shops. You know, even not for sale. Just be like, hey, do you mind if I leave these by the free stuff? I mean, I'm not saying to give your work away for free, but at the early stages, I think the goal is to try to get as much work in people's hands as possible. Here's another cat comic I got, Dope Cat Comics by Mike Boheim. So this is very much like a Fritz the Cat, not safe for work kind of stuff. So let me see if I can find something semi-appropriate to show off. But I love these tones in here. This is very old school comics with an X. You know, so I love to see like all the different interpretations of cats and stuff now that I'm drawing one regularly. Another artist I didn't know about, my buddy Jason Cochise put me on to him. Another guy I ran into was Chuck Brown, the creator of Bitterroot. So Chuck is a guy that actually lives kind of near me, actually. He was my librarian for a little bit, if you can believe that or not. But he is a incredibly nice guy, so encouraging, very down to earth. Love talking to him, love seeing him, and I cannot wait to dig into some Bitterroot here. I got a handful of not a handful, just like one or two of the issues of the original run, so I gotta really check those out. Another guy I ran into, so this is a funny story. If you want to talk about networking and stars aligning and you believe in synchronicity, you know, that other comic I showed off with Carl Jung's Shadow earlier, if you believe in those sort of things, so this guy Missimo, he's a incredibly talented cartoonist and artist, and when I was going to Broward College in Broward County, Florida, I took life drawing classes there as many times as I possibly could until a guidance counselor questioned why I was taking it for a third time, and then told me, all right, after this time, don't do that again, because you've already got these credits. And I was like, well, there's still stuff to learn. So, but one of my life drawing teachers is friends with Chris Missimo. and that's probably not his last name. I really just know him as Missimo. And she would get him to come in and do demonstrations. And then me also being a bad student, for some reason I missed all of these demonstrations in life drawing class. And, you know, had I not gone to HeroesCon last year, I feel like those things would have been like kind of a missed opportunity. But Missimo is in with the Cosmic Lion crew. I met him last year in person finally at HeroesCon. And I got to see him again, and I picked up a few more of his comics from him. But he was another guy. You know, I was walking. You know, I had my portfolio on me, and he was like, "Let me take a look at it." And he gave me some really nice feedback, man. So, and you know, the other thing too is like, you know, you can't go to these things expecting these people to do anything for you, but they're more than willing to allow you to pick their brain most of the time, especially if you have a little bit of a rapport with them on the internet or however you meet artists, you know, these days is how I do it. But, you know, I was asking him because I might be getting into some, like, art tutoring private things, and I was like, yeah, you know, just picking people's brains for, like, I'm not sure how to go about doing this. Here's my idea. What do you think of this? And getting really honest feedback from them. This is one I missed last year. Aqua Barbarian. Or Aquabarian. But this is a absolutely beautifully drawn, risograph printed, like adventure comic that's like dinosaurs, underwater stuff. I cannot wait to read this from Tony Iuppi. Published in Jacksonville, Florida too. So you can't go wrong. You know, fellow Floridians got to stick together. I did not know Matt Kint was going to be there, so I got a variant of the new and improved Mind MGMT, the cover by Jesse Lundgren. I should have had him sign it too, but I only got Matt's signature on it. But Mind MGMT is a real mind-bending comic. I think I got the collected version at a used bookstore, like really cheap, a few years ago. Blew through it in like a week. But it's if you like spies and like MK Ultra and, you know, all kinds of like really weird, freaky stuff, that's for you. And then the other thing, this is what I'm really curious about. I went to Jim Rugg's table. I wanted to get a couple copies of V-Friends because this is a comic, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of skeptical of. I think, you know, Gary V's got kind of a reputation online. And I'm wary about his foray into comic books, but I know Jim does really great work. He really knows comics as a medium, and I feel like he wouldn't get involved in something like, you know, like that if it weren't, if, you know, real, I guess. So, in the spirit of the Gary V whatnot blind box, let's pull it out and reveal what's in here, we're going to go ahead and do our cover reveals for V-Friends. So this is V-Friends Farm Fights. I was paging through this one. This one did look very good. I loved the paneling on it. I loved the artwork inside of it. So I grabbed this one from him, and Jim was kind enough to gift me a copy of the Cobra one here. So let's open this up and see what we got. Oh, look at that. One of one. I think that's what they say on the reels. I don't know if this is a one of one, but that is a fancy cover. I'm sure this ring light is probably making it absolutely obnoxious. But let's pop open a V-Friends and see what it looks like here. Farm Fights, issue number 13, created by Gary Vanderchuk, story and art by Jim Rugg. So you got Jim writing and drawing. Okay. So this is a little bit of like why I want to reserve judgment on stuff like this, because I don't know anything about it. And to be honest with you, this looks kind of fun, actually. There was some black and white stuff in here I saw when I was paging through it at the con that looked really good. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. This, like, I saw this in the back here, and I was like, oh, this reminds me a lot of, like, my Country Cat. These really busy, like, kind of panels in black and white and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to read this. The packaging is good. You know, maybe the blind box stuff is a little gimmicky, but, you know, Matt Kint does it too. I don't think gimmicks like this are anything new in comics, so I'll have to do a review of this at a later date and maybe post it up and see what we think. So let's do a cover reveal for V-Friends issue 17, first appearance of Confident Cobra. One limited edition comic. Oh boy. So let's crack this open. I'm sure anybody that watches these types of things is probably cringing at how I'm doing this. You know what? I got my knife. Let's do that. I noticed Jim cracked one open with a knife too, and I complimented him on his knife. And then for whatever reason, I thought I would tell him about how I bought a bag of knives at the South Carolina surplus warehouse for like $10, and because there was a Leatherman in it, and he was like, "All right, that's." I think he was thinking that's a weird thing to say, but he's very nice, gracious man, absolute class act. Let's ooh, here we go. This is the Jeff Darrow cover. That's a good pull. I love Jeff Darrow. I remember looking at one of my earliest comic book memories. Maybe not earliest, but a good formative comic book memory is going on EnterTheMatrix.com and looking at all the storyboard art by Jeff Darrow. I'd love to get some of those Matrix comics too. That I think he drew some of them. Even if he didn't, I would love to get my hands on some Matrix stuff. Yeah, this looks fun. It's colorful. The paneling's good. The drawings are good. So yeah, I mean, these. If you were at all skeptical about V-Friends, they are real comics. Oh, and look, it came with like a little bookmark here too. Very neat. So yeah, I'll have to do a more in-depth review of these in the future here. And what else do I got? I didn't get this one at HeroesCon, but this guy was at HeroesCon, and I want to show his stuff off nonetheless. Final by Johnson Benjamin. He had Final issue 2 there, which I regret not picking up from him. I should have, and it was an absolute oversight. But he's got a line quality here that reminds me of like Frank Quitely and like Mobius and stuff like that. I love Johnson Benjamin's work so much. Like all this mechanical stuff. I love this pose. But yeah. So there you have it. The HeroesCon haul. To sum it up though, I mean, art happens in real life. Relationships happen in real life. It's great. Like I said, Instagram is great for meeting artists through your screen, getting a dialogue going, maybe exchanging emails, exchanging phone numbers, depending on your level of comfortability, with meeting people online, or how much you want to let the internet in, because I think there is a danger to that, especially if you're doing independent comics. It's very easy. There's a lot of Discord chats out there that are all about making comics. There's a lot of Instagram group chats out there that are all about making comics. And maybe this is because I'm kind of older. I'm like a 38-year-old man. I'm nearly 40 years old. I find a lot of that stuff to be just a lot of noise, especially the more people involved in these chats. Discord, for me, it stresses me out just to think about it. I was in one server, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't quite understand exactly how it all worked, and it all moved so fast, so I'm not incessantly in chat rooms, so if I wanted to get back on there and be involved, I'd have to scroll up and read and sift through a bunch of just, quite frankly, nonsense, and that it wasn't helpful to promoting my work, promoting other people's work, making comics together. Don't get me wrong, some people absolutely thrive in that community. It's not really for me. I find the best way to go about these things, and what has worked for me consistently since day one, is you make something, you turn it into a thing that you can hand to somebody in real life, whether it's a fold-out zine, like something like this. I use these for business cards at cons and stuff. Like I said, I'll be at the Augusta Anime Con, so if you're in Augusta, Georgia, stop by my table. But stuff like this is fairly cheap to make. I printed this on my home printer. You can go to the library and print them out with your library card. You can go to Kinko's Fet, however you want to print it. Get your work in something that you can put into somebody's hands, no matter how small. And I think that has a much more lasting impact with them wanting to support you as an artist. They see that you're a real person making a real thing, especially if you have a portfolio of your artwork. I mean, you don't want to bring it everywhere you go. That can be cumbersome. But should the opportunity arise, like if you're tabling at a con, you should have your portfolio out so people can look at it. And this is the hard part as an artist, especially a comic book artist, because it's such an isolating kind of activity. Oftentimes you're writing alone, you're drawing alone, it just is what it is. So any opportunity you can get and kind of interact with humanity, find your own humanity while you do it after like months in isolation or weeks in isolation, whatever your practice is. That's where you get more traction, with people. Like me and Rick, for example, Rick Lopez, the creator of Cosmic Cat, we followed each other on Instagram for about a year now, maybe a year and a half or so. But we've had some conversations this weekend, and it turns out we're pretty similar dudes. We like a lot of the same stuff. We have a lot of the same sense of humor, and I think breaking down that barrier between the screen, there's already enough of a barrier between me and the person, not you because you're not in front of me, but me and like a person in front of me. It's not helpful, I think, to add another barrier with the screen. So just some things to kind of keep in mind as you're making stuff. Every so often, if you get like 4 or 5 pages done, print a little preview. Go pass them out. Go put them in people's hands. If you're going to like a bar or like a show, like a music show is great. Bring a pocket full of these. Hand them out to people, man. Make friends with people. Leave them at the counter. There's so many ways you can do it that's more effective than posting on Instagram and just leaving it at that and wondering why you're not getting any interaction or sales, whatever. But there's a lot involved, and it ain't easy, and I wish I had something a little bit more specific to tell you, but it's kind of a rambly video. I'm getting ready for a con. I'm excited about these comics here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully there's something in here that y'all found useful, and I really appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, liking, commenting, especially that last video. You guys seem to really like that last video about printing your comic for free with inks, which I met the inks crew there finally. Fantastic people out of Charlotte. But anyway, till next time, bye.